Welcome to SummitCast, and now live from the Greater Alabama Council Studios, here's your host, Vice President of District Operations, Mickey Harbin.
Good evening and welcome to SummitCast. My name is Mickey Harbin. I'm the Vice President of District Operations, and sorry we're running a little late. We had a few technical difficulties, but we're on the air now, and we really appreciate you being here. This is our second SummitCast. The purpose of these SummitCasts are to get topical subject items and bring them to you, items that are current in what we're doing in our day-to-day broadcast life. And so we want to bring them fresh and new to you, and hopefully we'll be doing this several times throughout the rest of the year as well. I want to introduce the panel up here. To my left, your right, is Ron Moore. Ron's my friend and council Commissioner.
Yes.
Ron, good to have you here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And I think everybody will recognize the gentleman to my right, Mr. JT Dabbs, and JT is the Scout Exec and CEO of the Greater Alabama Council.
Thank you, Mickey. Good to be here.
Thank you for being here. We've got three subjects that we wanted to go over tonight. They are rechartering, which is always a subject matter here at the council and at the Scout level as well. Popcorn, one of our favorite subject matters that we discuss throughout the year. And last but not least, engaging new parents. We will, at the end of that, have what we call burning questions. So if you have questions, feel free to send those in. You can do it three different ways. You can do an email at media@onebsa.org. You can do it via Twitter at twitter.com/onebsa, or you can do it by Facebook at www.facebook.com/Greater Alabama Council. So please feel free to send in questions if you have them, or send in topics for next discussion when we have our next SummitCast as well. So before we get started, because I don't want to forget these guys at the end, I want to thank the group that's on the other side of these cameras, which is Acoustic Shows. They are great, and they do a fantastic job for us. They're Joey Kiker. We also have David Murphy and Jacob Murphy and Chris Brightwell. We really appreciate you guys being here. We know that you're doing some travel just to be here from, I think, the Huntsville area. So travel to get down here and travel to get back. So we really, really appreciate you being here. So with that, I think we're going to kick it off with rechartering, and that is going to be your topic.
Well, thank you, Mickey. I really do appreciate it. Again, I'm Ron Moore. Thank you for tuning in this evening. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about recharter. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, recharter, it's that time of year again. Well, realistically, it's different this year. This year, we are migrating to have every unit recharter by the end of this year. So it puts a lot of focus so that everyone can pull together in the same way to get this task accomplished and really understand what we're trying to do with recharter. Recharter is really a time to do an assessment for the council, for the district, and for the units as they go through this process. You want to basically ask yourself just a few questions. How well of a program am I providing to our districts, to our units? How is our advancement going across our unit? How are the members, the individual members, doing? It allows you time to come back and focus on each of those areas. How well is training occurring through your youth, through your adults, and at the council and district levels? So rechartering is truly an important process. We will be starting that process October 1 this year. That is a month earlier for those folks in the northern part of the council that have been used to rechartering during this time of year. So we've in that process on October 1 when all of the recharters packages will be available to those units. But there are a couple things that you can do ahead of time prior to that. I would encourage you to go to myscouting.org. Check your unit status. Check those YPT training records, because as we all know, we have to have YPT, Youth Protection Training, done prior to that recharter. While you're at checking your youth protection, go ahead and check across the other training that each of those unit leaders need. What is lacking? There are lots of training. There's a lot of training that is available in the council, in the districts during this time of year, so you could get plugged into that to allow yourselves time to get unit leaders, get scouts, get other volunteers trained appropriately. Perhaps look over your membership rosters. There are scouts and adults who may no longer be active in your units. You need to identify those, understand why they may not choose to continue in the program. Look over your advancement records to see which youth are advancing. What can you do to help support those youth advance? So all those kinds of things that you can do prior to it. Most importantly, take a look at your leadership roster. What holes do you have in your unit that you will need to fill as you go forward? Those are the people that you need to identify, that you can begin recruiting so that you can provide program support to those youth that we serve. As I stated earlier, we're starting this process a month earlier than in the past. We're trying to bring all units to recharter at the same time by the end of the year. Target for us will be by 12/15. I understand that that is tough to do by December the 15th, so we've worked with the national office to open the recharters 1 month early. That will be happening on October 1st. Not only that, we will be able then to pull those charters and provide that as part of your roundtable in October. So I strongly encourage each unit to send a representative to your roundtables so that you can pick up your recharter packets and begin that process. At the same time, look over your Journey to Excellence forms. That is a great indication of how well your units, how well the districts are performing. It spans the entire gamut of areas that a unit has to deal with when providing a program, whether it be membership, whether it be training, whether it be finance, or program service. What kind of service are you providing to your community? All of these topics are addressed in your Journey to Excellence. So go ahead and review that form while you were pulling all of this together. A lot of you have been going through fall roundups, the packs. You've received a lot of applications. You'll be able to check your rosters to understand youth that have been added to those rosters as well as youth that have not yet been put on those rosters. You will need to have applications for those particular youth. So all of these things can be done. We hope to be able to start this, or we are starting this a month early, so we will be able to pull this together and finish this by 12/15, December the 15th. I encourage you to work with your district commissioners, or your district commissioners, your unit commissioners, as well as the district executive out there. It allows you to pull all of these things together. They have a wealth of knowledge in trying to put together a recharter package. I, from the council perspective, am going to be working on a webinar to walk you through a online recharter. Online recharter is very easy. It is simple. It allows fewer mistakes. It is faster. And so hopefully you'll be able to see that next month and be able to understand what is required to do an online recharter. I encourage every unit to do so. It is easy. It makes it smoother and allows a quicker processing of the records. As in the past, the cost for recharter will be $24 for the year. I also would encourage youth or families to sign up for voice of information, articles, things that do interest the youth as well as the adults. in the scouting program. So to close about ReCharter, I encourage you to attend your roundtable coming up. There will be ReCharter packets available. In those ReCharter packets will be a copy of your ReCharter. There will be a Journey to Excellence sheet. There will be an annual charter agreement that you will need to work with your charter partner to be able to coordinate, as well as a note from Penny, our council registrar, about new youth who may not be printed on the roster. Again, if you have any questions about ReCharter, reach out to your unit commissioners, reach out to your district commissioners, reach out to your district executives, reach out to me. All of us are here to help you to bring a wonderful program to the youth that we serve. Thank you, Mickey.
Very good. And if you've got questions right now about rechartering, feel free to do that as well on the email, Twitter, and Facebook accounts I gave you earlier. At this time, we're going to go to one of my favorite topics, which is popcorns. It's hard to turn down a Boy Scout when they knock on your door and offer popcorn.
That's right, and that's another reason why it's important for scouts who are selling popcorn to wear their uniform, which is allowed, and that's a great way for folks to know immediately what the popcorn sale is about and who it supports. And I do want to mention a few things about our popcorn sale. First of all, thanks so much to our units and volunteers who work hard to provide this opportunity for our young people to sell popcorn, which gives them an opportunity to do more things, attending day camp and summer camp. They earn money for outings. Over 1,000 scouts that sold popcorn last year earned discounts on summer camp and day camp this year and got to go because of the popcorn sale. And there's also the scholarship program, which is a great program that more and more scouts are qualifying for each year. This year we've tweaked a few things. We do have some new incentives and incentive structures. You may or may not know this if you've not looked at the material, but you can earn up to 40% commission on the popcorn sale this year is one of the levels if you just sell just over 10% over what you did last year as a unit. So you can do the 33% level or a 35% level or a 40% level of commissions, which is a great opportunity for your unit to earn some great dollars to help. The popcorn sale benefits both the council and the units, and together we can serve more young people and give them more outdoor opportunities because of that sale. For example, the dollars from a popcorn sale help support our camp operations, help do all the different things that we do in our council, and just like the scouts who earn dollars from the popcorn sale, they can use that to go to camp or to pay for camp or different outings. So it goes back to the local units and it goes back to the council. And it's a great example for young people to earn their way in scouting, and popcorn gives us that opportunity to do that. And also in this day and age with multiple children in the household, you've got some playing Little League baseball, you've got one over here doing scouting and doing soccer. It can add up quickly to a lot of money that you spend on activities. And this is a way that you can help defray that cost, and it's not coming out of your family budget because your scout is selling popcorn to help pay their way, and it's a great opportunity for that. It's also a great way for the community to see scouting and to hear about what we're doing, and hopefully as scouts are selling, both as a show and sell, if they're sitting in a parking lot at some business and people are coming up, it gives an opportunity to tell people about scouting and what it's doing, and so we can communicate to them in different ways, not just only sell them popcorn. It supports the council, the unit, in a variety of ways. So I want to mention just a few important dates that are coming up. First of all, October 9th, the show and sell order money is due to the scout office. And then October 26th, the take order and prize orders are due by 12 noon that day. And November 12th and 13th will be the pickup of the product, so you can deliver it to those, and then all the dollars need to be turned in by December 4th for the popcorn sale. So lots of different ways, lots of things that are important, and just a few quick tips. Always make sure your scouts are wearing their uniform, making sure that they're telling the scouting story as they're doing that, and telling the folks who are buying it why you're selling popcorn and what it does for the unit and for the council. And know the different types of product that we're selling, and just being very gracious and thankful to people who support scouting and buying popcorn, because it's a great way to do that. And if you have someone who buys popcorn every year, I think it's a really great idea to send them a thank you note because they're supporting scouting. And if you're a Cub Scout pack or troop, maybe after the popcorn sale, you sit down and write thank you notes to everybody who bought popcorn to let them know how much we appreciate the things that they do. And also parents and adults, let's make sure we're very safety conscious, that Scouts are not selling alone, that there always are adults present, and they're very careful in traveling into the neighborhoods and selling and doing those sort of things and using the buddy system in all we do. But Ron and Mickey, the popcorn sale is a great thing for us, and we hope Scouts out there have a great sale, and be sure and come by and visit all the different neighborhoods in your area and come visit us. And we'll haven't anyone try to sell me popcorn yet, so I'll be glad to buy some if somebody will, especially when we do the take orders, can come by and sell some popcorn here at the Scout office or at other places.
Yeah.
So,
I remember doing it with both my boys, and it's kind of a great thing to do is go out there and do that with them. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. The next subject matter is mine, which is engaging new Scout parents. And if you're in Scouting, at one point in time, you were a new Scout parent. I remember my first meeting that I had as a new Scout parent, and I had no Scouting background whatsoever. So when I went in, I heard a lot of different terminology that I really didn't know. People were in uniforms, so it was quite intimidating. The difference in ages between my first and second son is 9 years. So by the time my second son came up, I had 9 years of Scouting experience, and it was a totally different feeling going back and signing up our second kid to Scouting. So there's a big difference in those new parents that are coming in. So we need to make sure, especially right now, with school starting, we need to make sure that we welcome these new parents. We want to make sure that we try to greet them when they come in. We want to make sure we try to learn their names. You're going to be going through probably a decade long, maybe longer than that, with a lot of these parents. A lot of them will be lifelong friends. I've got friends that were leaders in both my sons' Scouting life, and I still have them, and they're still great friends. So it's something to kind of to do and enjoy as they come in. It's a good thing to get a greeter when they're first starting, somebody that has some experience to greet the parents, because when they're coming in, they really have no real background as to what to do. And a greeter can give them and calm them down a little bit and bring the anxiety level down a little bit. I mentioned the uniforms can be kind of intimidating, so we need to remember the Scout law: friendly, courteous, and kind, because there's a lot of angst in these young parents that are bringing these kids in. We're kind of talking about Cub Scouts, but a new parent can also be in Boy Scouts at the troop level. Make sure you answer their questions, because they're going to have questions, but they're not going to, in a group setting, they're probably not going to raise their hand because they really feel uncomfortable in asking questions because they're just not really sure about what is happening. So take some time to get some people that when the new parents are getting there, they personally come and ask the new parents if they have questions or if they have concerns. So it's always good to take them off to the side and do a personal question, as opposed to in a group setting just say, do you have questions? And generally speaking, nobody does, because they don't know enough to really ask what they might feel are good questions. Also, in talking, is certainly the first month or so is there's always Boy Scout jargon. There's jargon in every organization, every business there is. So make sure that if you're talking about a Scoutmaster, you might want to say that's the top leader in our pack. Or if they're talking about Tigers and Bobcats, you might say first grade and second grade and affiliate with it. So they get familiar with exactly the terminology and kind of what fits what they're doing. Also, learning about their abilities. There's actually a sheet here, and it will be posted. I don't know if you're going to be able to post it on the screen or not, but they're a good deal. There is a sheet, and it's called a Family Talent Survey. It's a great sheet that kind of, if you'll hand it out when it gives what their hobbies are, what what kind of skill sets they have, skill sets that they can bring into a pack or a troop. And it's a very, very good way of handing it out and finding out exactly what you've got in a troop, because you'll be just amazed at the knowledge of the parents that are sitting around, sometimes sitting around for years. I remember we had in our troop a very quiet gentleman. He rarely said anything. He came to all the troop meetings, and we wanted to do a website, and somebody knew that he did websites and kind of mentioned him in the meeting, and he said he would be glad to do it. And he built a fantastic website that our troop still uses now. And then from there, he kind of gained confidence of getting more and more involved in the troop. So there's all kinds of skill sets out there that we can tap into. We just got to know them. You can ask personally, or you can ask by this family talent survey sheet. It's a great way of finding out what is happening out there, because generally in a just about any type of group, 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people, and it needs to be kind of filtered out among the parents that are there. There are parents there that are actually wanting to do something. Sometimes you just got to go and pull them in or ask them. So please don't hesitate to do that, and do it on an individual basis, as I mentioned before. Don't do it in a group setting, because in a group setting they're going to assume somebody else is going to be doing it. If you ask them, and if you got the talent sheet and you kind of know they have wood carving or other types of skills that can help your program out, or another thing is they know people that can be part of your program as well. So always make sure you ask and do it on an individual way. And the last thing I want to mention is that there's a lot of great parents in scouting, and a lot of great parents do all kinds of stuff in scouting, and scouting does a very good job of this, which is in recognizing people for things that they do. And it can be as simple as thanking them or asking them to stand up in a meeting and just say thank you for preparing this particular portion of our program, or thank you for doing table settings at the Blue Gold Banquet. If you'll just make sure you recognize people for things that they do, because it's a good thing, and it makes them feel good, and it makes them feel part of the pack or the troop, and it makes them want to continue to go forward and helping in activities. So that's kind of what I've got on engaging parents. Now we've got what we call our burning questions. So all right, we've got our burning questions coming up. So this is the first one we have. This is Richard Stone. Richard asked, will the new scout books be usable by the district or council to support JTL or advanced training? So,
well, Richard, let me answer that for you a little bit. Those that are not familiar with Scout Book, what that's referencing is scoutbook.com, which is a new web-based tool for units, parents. It's resources for scout leaders. It's a suite of easily to use web-based tools that's helpful to the scouts and the unit. It's a unit management web application that will kind of be the one-stop place for scouts and parents and unit leaders to record and manage their scouting experience. It will be an easy way to track advancements, unit activities, unit communications. So from that perspective, it's there. You will find as we move forward with Scout Book that we'll see integration of Scout Book into everything that we do in scouting. So it'll eventually will tie into both district and council things. But I would encourage you to go to scoutbook.com. Right now you can get a free account, for like just one person to try it out, and then there are multiple options if you want to use it for multiple people in your unit. And so take it scoutbook.com, and there's some great information. It's a great tool, and I encourage everyone to sign up for that and take a look at it. Okay. We also had a question on popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn question is from Marty.
There were a couple, because there was a question also on the military sale of popcorn, and it was an interesting. And the gentleman who emailed us, first of all, he was serving in Afghanistan, and want to certainly thank him for his service, and was asking while he was overseas, he see popcorn that was being delivered where he was. So I checked with the Trails End popcorn company to ask them where are the military popcorn when it's purchased, where does it go and how it's used. There are two levels. There's a $35 silver level and a $55 gold level. And so when they purchase that, then Trails End a variety of popcorn, all the different types, to veterans organizations, to U.S. troops, to families, lots of different. Interesting fact, I did not know this, that since they started that military sale, $45 million worth of popcorn has been purchased for military and military families for that. And so as I understand, they ship it to different locations around the world, and it goes both domestic and international. So it may go to bases in the U.S., it can go to it goes to National Guard units, it will go to areas, families that their loved ones are overseas, then they will go to the families here. They've shipped it to units in Afghanistan, to Iraq, the U.S. military bases overseas. So it's gone all over. So the only thing I would guess is that it's done at different times of the year. So this particular gentleman, when you were there, it may had been delivered before or after, or to different bases, on that. But there is. We will post for you. There's a nice document from Trails End that shows some of the people receiving the popcorn and families, and those of you that are interested in that, thought you might get a kick out of seeing how the popcorn's used with that. So great question there. Was will the popcorn sales once again be combined with Friends of Scouting campaign to give troops a discount? It's summer camp fees, and yes, the FOS, the camp cards, and the popcorn are all combined to give that discount for camp fees.
Very good. And you can see by some of the research that you had there, so you can ask the questions on these SummitCast, long before the SummitCast actually appears. Some of these are we're getting live here, but if you got questions that, it doesn't have to pertain to the subject matter at hand, please feel free to go ahead and send those in, and we can actually do some research to find out kind of
if we don't know the answer tonight, we'll find it out and then we'll post it
exactly.
with the rebroadcast of
Yeah,
this.
and the next question is for Ron, is can you provide any update on Camp Jackson, what has been done, what needs to be done, and what facilities are available, et cetera? So,
well, that's a
ongoing
question.
Yeah, it is
a wonderful question. Camp Jackson is a great and beautiful place. I do get to say that it is open and suitable for camping. I was there, as a matter of fact, last weekend with a powderhorn course. And so I would strongly encourage each of the units to fill out the camp use permit and submit it. Camp Jackson has a wonderful facilities up there. There are bathhouses that are very, very nice with, yes, they do have hot water in them, and so that's, they're individual. So it is good facilities, good infrastructure. It is still a primitive camp. There are still areas that do need work. I know that the ranger and the council has been doing a wonderful job trying to bring that property back online since it had the devastating storms several years ago. But I encourage you to take a small drive up to towards Fort Payne, and instead of swinging right to Camp Comer, swing left and go over the hill to go over the mountain and see what Camp Jackson has to offer. It's a beautiful property right on the Tennessee River, just there for a paradise for units to come and camp, fish, or do a host of different things. Sailing, yes, it is right on the river, so you can do water activities there. It is a great place to launch off, to go caving, to go rappelling, a whole host of high adventure activities. Don't overlook the fact that Camp Jackson is often used in the summertime for part of the high adventure program at Camp Comer. Yeah. So there's all kinds of activity going on at Camp Jackson. Come be a part of it.
Yeah. And let me mention a couple things on Camp Jackson just real quick. The devastating destruction to Camp Jackson by the tornadoes in 2011, we had, we spent over $500,000 in just doing the work to kind of recover from that. And there's still work to be done. We've built the new marina. We've got the new personal watercraft, and so as we continue to grow and do that, and the scouts this summer that got to go over to Jackson from Comer, just a lot of work, a lot of volunteering. I do want to say Gene Hess and the Camp Jackson committee, they have done an amazing job of working on that property and doing great things. I just want to say thank you to them for all their work in doing that.
Yeah. We're going to throw one to Ron this time. This is from Peter. We've been promised a new online rechartering system for several years. When we have access to it, IE is going away, and the current system is very outdated.
Yes, Peter.
So true, my friend.
It is very, very true. I can't promise that will change this year, but I do know that the national office is working to migrate lots of different modules into a common platform. We've heard a couple of touches on several of them tonight, so we will be working through those. I hope to be able to put together some type of a web cast around doing an online recharter. So hopefully we can address some of those issues that do cause problems, and I know that you and your commissioner staff work very diligently to help those in your district to get their recharters done on time. So thank you very much, but unfortunately, I don't know that system will change for this particular recharger season.
Okay.
There's another popcorn sort of related question, and then there's also a marketing question I wanted to mention. In terms of the popcorn, someone asked about the camp cards. Are going to be the scout card sales that we're doing. Are going to be any changes with that? And we're looking to partner with some wider-known vendors. We're also looking at there are a couple of companies we use to do that, so we're looking at a few different things to take a look at that. I also know that over the next few weeks, our team they're doing some focus groups with some scout leaders to get their feedback, because if we make changes, we want to make sure it's what the scout leaders would like to see related to that. There's also a question about Scouting Wire and the marketing videos, and some of you may not be aware of that. The Scouting Wire is a communication piece that the national office does. Has a variety of different things. There are videos there that you can use with your unit. You can also share those through social media. And I do want to mention with that is videos that National produces, are helpful and effective and communicate. But what's really powerful are the videos and things that you do in your unit. Those little things that you may do with an iPhone to video your scouts at, say, the Rocket Academy we had this weekend, and then share that with other family members of your unit. Those are some powerful things that really communicate and tell the story. And we're doing a visual storytelling workshop in October at Camp Sequoia, I believe, and we'll post the information about that. And that's where volunteers who are interested in marketing and telling the scouting story, using both things from the national office and also things we do locally to tell about scouting in our community and encourage others to get involved and join. So we're really excited about the opportunities to do that. There's also a question about Camp Jackson, about the ski-doos and the boats and all that for use by unit. So let me just mention that our committee is working on a process with that. Through a donation, we were able to purchase 6 sea-doos, and we use them this summer with scouts. And so our committee is working through a process so that we'll have a variety of, eventually we hope that we'll have a menu of items you can choose from. So if you want to do sailing adventure, or if you wanted to use the personal watercraft, there'll be opportunities for units to do that for a day trip or weekend trip. So our committee's working through that. We wanted to get the equipment, do a pilot this summer, which we've done, so we're evaluating that and seeing next steps and where we're going. And I know the committee, I think, may have met recently, so they're probably way ahead of me on this, and we'll get some info from them and post that about how we'll go about expanding that program.
Okay, Jeremy sent in, at what point will we begin to discuss the 2016 changes to the Boy Scout advancement requirement?
Well, there is Jim Brush, who is our Vice President of Advancement for the Council. He and other district advancement people go each year, a couple times, over to meetings that they have in the area to talk about advancement. And so then they come back, and as they find out things, they'll share those with us, and we'll communicate. I'm guessing from this question that maybe you feel we need to send out a little more info, so that's certainly something we can take a look at. But I do encourage you, there is the advancement team nationally, a volunteer team They have a newsletter that they do, and I don't remember off the top of my head how to subscribe to that, but I would suggest you do that. You can probably just Google it real quick, or we'll put it in the show notes or the other information after this. And it's got great information about changes in advancement, new merit badges coming out, any changes to the book on the advancement regulations, all that sort of stuff is there.
Okay. And the next question is a capital campaign fundraising question,
Yeah.
which is
I'll answer that too. As you may know, we've been doing for several years capital campaign, and we have been spending as we go. The idea for that is we raise money, we spend it, and do projects. If you've been to any of our camps, you've seen a variety of those projects, some of which are not easy to see. A water line that we put in at Camp Westmoreland is not something that's readily visible, but the roofs on the latrines at Camp Sequoia are something that you can see, or the new marina that we built at Camp, or the sea-doos that we purchased at Camp Jackson, or the maintenance area that we built at Camp Sequoia, the latrines that we're about to build at some other camps. So we've done a variety of things through that. We're still trying to finish up and raise the monies for that. There was specifically about, we have some money in the budget to do renovations and updates to the Scout office in Huntsville. And so we've got a chairman for that who's raising the dollars to do that as kind of one of our final phases of the campaign. And then we also have a campaign going on that I would like to mention to you. As you may know, we have an Eagle Scout wall at the Liberty Park complex. And good news, bad news, we have completely filled up the existing wall with the names of all the Eagle Scouts, and we need to add some new wall to it. And so we've got a campaign to raise $250,000 to raise dollars for that effort. To build the new wall, and so we can add the names that we need to put and then add new names. So that's another part of our campaign that we're doing, and we hope that folks can support us in doing that. It's a great cause. Those of us who are Eagle Scouts, I would encourage you to donate. I gave Ginger and my wife and I, we've made a donation to the Eagle Wall, and I would encourage all Eagle Scouts in our council to whatever size gift, $5, $5,000. We actually had a person walk in who was an Eagle Scout from our council, saw what we were doing, and wrote us a check for $5,000 right out of the blue to help pay for that, because he thought it was an important thing to recognize the Eagle Scouts of our council, which are significant in things that they do. So please help us in raising awareness and the dollars so that we can update that Eagle Wall and get that done. So we're very excited about the dollars we're raising and continue to do that. So we'll get that going. So Mickey, I'll turn it over to you, I guess, for wrapping up.
Yeah, those are some great questions. I hope you like the format. Please feel free to send questions or any suggestions as to how we go about doing this. The object of this is to get topical subjects out there to you when the things or various items are happening throughout the year. So please feel free to make suggestions, and I really appreciated all the questions that came through. Those are really, really good. So. At this time, if there are no more questions, it doesn't look like it is, I'm going to throw it, JT, to you for closing.
Mickey, thank
comments.
you. Ron, thank you. Appreciate y'all's leadership and what you do in the council. Just want to mention real quick, first of all, thanks to every parent who has allowed your son to join Cub Scouting and Boy Scouting this fall. You have made a great choice, and we hope to convince you that scouting is something they should do for a long time, because it can be life-changing. To our current volunteers and family members of our current scouts, thank you for what you do in helping support and participate in scouting. Thousands of families will join scouting in the Greater Alabama Council this fall, and we owe it to those families to continue to expand and grow our programs, to do a better job of serving those families, and to do lots of different things. Some of you may have noticed that we've got a theme we're doing this fall about rocket into scouting, and I want to thank the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. They are providing for every scout who joins this fall, not only in our council, but in every council in our state, a model rocket that they will receive, and then we will have rocket academies. And we held our first two this past weekend, and we launched a lot of rockets at both Camp Sequoia and Camp Jackson. The scouts there seem to have a great time in doing that, and we're really excited about that. Thank you to the Rocket Center. Their website is rocketcenter.com. The leadership there at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and their team are amazing folks. They do a great job in our state, in our country, and all over the world. And I encourage all of you to support their efforts and do the things that they do. Our Rocket Academy is upcoming. September 26th, we have one at Camp Westmoreland, and we have one at Comer Scout Reservation. And then October 3rd, we have one at the Huntsville Space and Rocket Center, which should be exciting, and at Oak Mountain State Park. So our new scouts that join, there's no cost for this. You can just go to either one of them. It would be helpful for us if you can register. You don't have to pay anything, but to register, you can do that on the website, or you can text BLASTOFF, BLASTOFF, to 24587, and we'll have that in the show notes also, so you can do that. One other quick thing, during our last SummitCast, we got a question about how horrible our calendar was on our council website. And so we agree with you, it was pretty bad. In fact, it was kind of awkward to use, and we had a PDF of it. So I'm pleased to say that we have a new system on the website. If you haven't noticed it, go there. When you go to the main page, there's a click, so check out the new council calendar. You can click on that, and you can actually open, and you can have it save the dates to your calendar, and you can pick, there's a council calendar, there's an OA calendar, there's a training calendar, and I believe eventually it'll be district calendars, but all those dates are there. It's really great. One other quick thing, if you're new to scouting, you may not be aware of this, but there's a thing called Voice of the Scout, which is a survey that Boy Scouts of America does a couple times a year, and it goes out to email addresses that we have. And so you'll get that, and it gives you an opportunity to give us some feedback. And so we eventually get that, and so we appreciate you taking the time to give us your feedback on that, on how we're doing, how's scouting doing in your district, in your unit, and those sorts of things. And we have lots of events going on this fall, so please go to our website and check out all the different events. Cup-Hearted Weekends start in October, 5 sessions. Comer Scout Reservation, Camp Sequoia, Camp Westmoreland. Then we have Cub Scout Safari also in October at the Birmingham Zoo. That's October 4th. We have our Space Quest at the Space and Rocket Center, 2 sessions in November, which is a wonderful event. A new event we've got this year is Jedi Academy, which is November 20th through the 22nd. That's a Boy Scout event at Comer Scout Reservation, and taking advantage of the fun of the Star Wars theme as that new movie comes out this fall. And then finally, our Big Chill, our winter camp at Comer Scout Reservation, December 27th and 31st. That was previously, we called that our Winter Blast, so we've tweaked that a little bit. Lots of great events. Thanks to our volunteers and our staff team and all the work that they do to make these wonderful events happen in the fall. And thanks to all of our unit leaders for all the other things that you're doing every weekend to make scouting happen in your unit. And appreciate those of you that are watching us tonight, and thanks for your feedback, and look forward to hearing more from you as we continue to do these broadcasts.
Thank you, and good night.
Thank you for being with us for SummitCast. For more information about the programs and activities of the Greater Alabama Council, please check us out on the web at www.onebsa.org.